Hi, I'm Aditya, and you are listening to the audio version of NCERT Class 12 Chemistry, Unit 14 Environmental Chemistry. The world has achieved brilliance without wisdom, power, without conscience. Our world is the world of nuclear giants and ethical infants. You have already studied about environment in your earlier classes. Environmental studies deal with the sum of all social, economical, biological, physical, and chemical interrelations with our surroundings. In this unit, the focus will be on environmental chemistry. Environmental chemistry deals with the study of the origin, transport, reactions, effects, and fates of chemical species in the environment. Let's discuss some important aspects of environmental chemistry. Section 14.1 Environmental Pollution. Environmental pollution is the effect of undesirable changes in our surroundings that have harmful effects on plants, animals, and human beings. A substance which causes pollution is known as pollutant. Pollutants can be solid, liquid, or gaseous substances present in greater concentration than in natural abundance and are produced due to human activities or due to natural happenings. Do you know an average human being requires nearly 12 to 15 times more air than food? So, even small amounts of pollutants in the air become significant compared to similar levels present in the food. Pollutants can be degradable, like discarded vegetables, which rapidly break down by natural processes. On the other hand, pollutants, which are slowly degradable, remain in the environment in an unchanged form for many decades. For example, substances such as dichloro-diphenyl trichloroethane, commonly known as DDT, plastic materials, heavy metals, many chemicals, nuclear wastes, etc., once released into environment are difficult to remove. These pollutants cannot be degraded by natural processes and are harmful to living organisms. In the process of environmental pollution, pollutants originate from a source and get transported by air or water or are dumped into soil by human beings. Section 14.2 Atmospheric Pollution. The atmosphere that surrounds the earth is not of the same thickness at all heights. There are concentric layers of air or regions, and each layer has different density. The lowest region of atmosphere in which the human beings along with other organisms live is called troposphere. It extends up to the height of approximately 10 kilometers from the sea level. Above the troposphere, between 10 to 15 kilometers above sea level, lies stratosphere. Troposphere is turbulent, dusty zone containing air, much water vapor, and clouds. This is the region of strong air movement and cloud formation. The stratosphere, on the other hand, contains dinitrogen, dioxygen, ozone, and a little water vapor. Atmospheric pollution is generally studied as tropospheric and stratospheric pollution. The presence of ozone in the stratosphere prevents about 99.5% of the sun's harmful ultraviolet radiations from reaching the Earth's surface and thereby protecting humans and other animals from its effect. Subsection 14.2.1 Tropospheric Pollution. The tropospheric pollution occurs due to the presence of undesirable solid or gaseous particles in the air. The following are the major gaseous and particulate pollutants present in the troposphere. First, gaseous air pollutants. These are oxides of sulfur, nitrogen, and carbon, hydrogen sulfide, hydrocarbons, ozone, and other oxidants. Second, particulate pollutants. These are dust, mist, fumes, smoke, smog, etc. First, gaseous air pollutants. A. Oxides of sulfur. Oxides of sulfur are produced when sulfur-containing fossil fuels are burned. The most common species, sulfur dioxide, is a gas that is poisonous to both animals and plants. It has been reported that even a low concentration of sulfur dioxide causes respiratory diseases, example asthma, bronchitis, emphysema in human beings. Sulfur dioxide causes irritation to the eyes, resulting in tears and redness. High concentration of SO2 leads to stiffness of flower buds, which eventually fall from the plants. Uncatalyzed oxidation of sulfur dioxide is slow. However, the presence of particulate matter in the polluted air catalyzes the oxidation of sulfur dioxide to sulfur trioxide. Two molecules of sulfur dioxide combines with one molecule of oxygen to give two molecules of sulfur trioxide. The reaction can also be promoted by ozone and hydrogen peroxide. The group of reaction is 1 SO2 combines with 1 O3 to give 1 SO3 and 1 O2. Second reaction. 1 SO2 combines with 1 molecule of hydrogen peroxide in liquid form and gives H2SO4 in aqueous form. B. Oxides of nitrogen. Dinitrogen and dioxygen are the main constituents of air. These gases do not react with each other at normal temperature. At high altitudes, when lightning strikes, they combine to form oxides of nitrogen. NO2 is oxidized to nitrate ion, NO3-, which is washed into soil where it serves as a fertilizer. In an automobile engine, at high temperature, when the fossil fuel is burned, dinitrogen and dioxygen combine to yield significant quantities of nitric oxide, NO, and nitrogen dioxide, NO2, as given below. N2 in gaseous form combines with O2 in gaseous form at 1483 Kelvin to give 2NO in gaseous form. NO reacts instantly with oxygen to give NO2. 2NO gaseous plus O2 gaseous gives 2NO2 gaseous. The rate of production of NO2 is faster when nitric oxide reacts with ozone in the stratosphere. The corresponding reaction is NO gaseous plus O3 gaseous gives NO2 gaseous plus O2 gaseous. The irritant red haze in the traffic and congested places is due to the oxides of nitrogen. Higher concentrations of NO2 damage the leaves of plants and retard the rate of photosynthesis. Nitrogen dioxide is a lung irritant that can lead to an acute respiratory disease in children. It is toxic to living tissues. Nitrogen dioxide is also harmful to various textile fibers and metals. C. Hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons are composed of hydrogen and carbon only and are formed by incomplete combustion of fuels used in automobiles. Hydrocarbons are carcinogenic, that is, they cause cancer. They harm plants by causing aging, breakdown of tissues, and shedding of leaves, flowers, and twigs. D. Oxides of carbon. First, carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide is one of the most serious air pollutants. It is a colorless, odorless gas, highly poisonous to living beings because of its ability to block the delivery of oxygen to organs and tissues. It is produced as a result of incomplete combustion of carbon. The carbon monoxide is mainly released into the air by automobile exhausts. Other sources which produce CO involve incomplete combustion of coal, firewood, petrol, etc. The number of vehicles has been increasing over the years all over the world. Many vehicles are poorly maintained and several have inadequate pollution control equipments, resulting in the release of greater amount of carbon monoxide and other polluting gases. Do you know why carbon monoxide is poisonous? It binds to hemoglobin to form carboxyhemoglobin, which is about 300 times more stable than oxygen hemoglobin complex. In blood, when the concentration of carboxyhemoglobin reaches about 3 to 4%, the oxygen carrying capacity of blood is greatly reduced. This oxygen deficiency results into headache, weak eyesight, nervousness, and cardiovascular disorder. This is the reason why people are advised not to smoke. In pregnant women who have the habit of smoking, the increased CO level in the blood may include premature birth, spontaneous abortions, and deformed babies. Second, carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide, CO2, is released into atmosphere by respiration, burning of fossil fuels for energy, and by decomposition of limestone during the manufacture of cement. It is also emitted during the volcanic eruptions. Carbon dioxide gas is confined to troposphere only. Normally, it forms about 0.03% by volume of atmosphere. With the increased use of fossil fuels, a large amount of carbon dioxide gets released into the atmosphere. Excess of CO2 in the air is removed by green plants, and this maintains an appropriate level of CO2 in the atmosphere.
Green plants require CO2 for photosynthesis and they in turn emit oxygen, thus maintaining the delicate balance. As you know, deforestation and burning of fossil fuels increases the CO2 level and disturb the balance in the atmosphere. The increased amount of CO2 in the air is mainly responsible for global warming.
Global warming and the greenhouse effect. About 75% of solar energy reaching Earth is absorbed by the Earth's surface, which increases its temperature. The rest of the heat radiates back to the atmosphere. Some of the heat is trapped by gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, ozone, chlorofluorocarbon, and water vapors in the atmosphere. Thus, they add to the heating of the atmosphere. This causes global warming. We all know that in cold places, flowers, vegetables, and fruits are grown in glass covered areas called greenhouse. Do you know that we humans also live in a greenhouse? Of course, we are not surrounded by glass but a blanket of air called atmosphere, which has kept the temperature on Earth constant for centuries. But it is now undergoing a change, though slowly. Just as the glass in a greenhouse holds the sun's warmth inside, atmosphere traps the sun's heat near the Earth's surface and keeps it warm. This is called natural greenhouse effect because it maintains the temperature and makes the Earth perfect for life. In a greenhouse, solar radiations pass through the transparent glass and heat up the soil and the plants. The warm soil and plants emit infrared radiations. Since glass is opaque to infrared radiations or thermal region, it partly reflects and partly absorbs these radiations. This mechanism keeps the energy of the sun trapped in the greenhouse. Similarly, carbon dioxide molecules also trap heat as they are transparent to sunlight but not to the heat radiation. If the amount of carbon dioxide crosses the delicate proportion of 0.03%, the natural greenhouse balance may get disturbed. Carbon dioxide is the major contributor to global warming. Besides carbon dioxide, other greenhouse gases are methane, water vapor, nitrous oxide, CFCs, and ozone. Methane is produced naturally when vegetation is burned, digested, or rotted in the absence of oxygen. Large amounts of methane are released in paddy fields, coal mines, from rotting garbage dumps, and by fossil fuels. Chlorofluorocarbons or the CFCs are man-made industrial chemicals used in air conditioning, etc. CFCs are also damaging to ozone layer. Nitrous oxide occurs naturally in the environment. In the recent years, their quantities have increased significantly due to the use of chemical fertilizers and the burning of fossil fuels. If these trends continue, the average global temperature will increase to a level which may lead to the melting of polar ice caps and flooding of low-lying areas all over across the earth. Increase of the global temperature increases the incidence of infectious diseases like dengue, malaria, yellow fever, sleeping sickness, etc. Acid rain. We are aware that normally rainwater has a pH of 5.6 due to the presence of H plus ions formed by the reaction of rainwater and the carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere. H2O liquid plus CO2 gaseous gives H2CO3 aqueous. H2CO3 aqueous gives H plus aqueous and HCO3 minus aqueous. When the pH of rainwater drops below 5.6, it is called acid rain. Acid rain refers to the ways in which acid from the atmosphere is deposited on the Earth's surface. Oxides of nitrogen and sulfur, which are acidic in nature, can be blown by wind along with solid particles in the atmosphere and finally settle down either on the ground as dry deposition or in water, fog, and snow as wet depositions. Acid rain is a byproduct of variety of human activities that emit the oxides of sulfur and nitrogen in the atmosphere. As mentioned earlier, burning of fossil fuels which contain sulfur and nitrogenous matter such as coal and oil in power stations and furnaces or petrol and diesel in motor engines produce sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide. SO2 and NO2 after oxidation and reaction with water are major contributors to acid rain because polluted air usually contains particulate matter that catalyze the oxidation. 2SO2 gaseous plus O2 gaseous plus 2H2O liquid gives 2H2SO4 aqueous. 4NO2 gaseous plus O2 gaseous plus 2H2O liquid gives 4HNO3 aqueous. Ammonium salts are also formed and can be seen as an atmospheric haze, aerosol, or fine particles. Aerosol particles of oxides or ammonium salts in raindrop result in wet deposition. SO2 is also absorbed directly on both solid and liquid ground surfaces and is thus deposited as dry deposition. Acid rain is harmful to agriculture, trees, and plants as it dissolves and washes away nutrients needed for their growth. It causes respiratory ailments to human beings and animals. When acid rain falls and flows as groundwater to reach rivers, lakes, etc., it affects plants and animal life in aquatic ecosystem. It corrodes water pipes, resulting in leaching of heavy metals such as iron, lead, and copper into the drinking water. Acid rain damages buildings and other structures made of stone or metal. The Taj Mahal in India has been affected by acid rain.